Yeah, we talked about some of SMU's evaluations. Cam Collins, who just flipped to Georgia Tech, gets the local school, taking a close eye at him. So SMU is doing something right in the scouting department for sure.
Exactly.
Speaking of some good evals, Dramekco Green is one that had a little bit more of like Power 5 interest and things like that before SMU offered. They offered, I think, in April. But once SMU saw him in person, they went all in and they were able to pull off that commitment this week. So talk a little bit about him. He's from the Houston area. SMU's had some success with guys like Braden West and Xavier Jones from Houston, and of course, dating back to the Pony Express as well. But Dramekco Green is a very guy on the rise type of prospect, I think.
Yeah, Billy. I mean, I got to see Dramekco Green at ESPN's Houston camp. So he showed up this spring, and that was huge for us. And hand up, I will admit, Green was somebody going into that camp that I was relatively unfamiliar with. And big hat tip to you, Billy and Body. You messaged me after he got that SMU offer and were like, hey, now, you need to dive into this cat. And it was maybe a couple days before the numbers and the film from that camp was released. So I just watched him live, and then I just got the tape to go off of, and my eyes perked up after like 2 clips. He has that twitch and the foot speed that everyone in the country is looking for at that position. The body type checks out. He's extremely well put together, a good-looking 190 pounds, 195 pounds. He catches the ball out of the backfield comfortably, which is something that's extremely important now out of that position, especially projecting to the next level. And then the numbers came out for the camp, and I was like, oh, okay, this kid's like real. You know what I mean? Like the 40 time was solid, but the shuttle and the broad jump and the vertical numbers were like, wow, good. I mean, he had the second highest vertical at the entire event. So I think it was like 35 inches. So to say that Dramekco's explosive would be an understatement. He's definitely someone that we have extra ultra highlighted going into his senior tape, because if he can bring that type of workout to the field as a senior, this is somebody that could definitely be vying for a 4-star spot, top 300 spot at the end of this whole thing.
And SMU's running back pursuit in the class of 2025 is interesting. They had Ricky Stewart committed at one point.
Right.
They were hot on Tiger Ryden. They were, and still are, at least as of the recording, still very much in the picture for Michael Turner, number 3 running back in the country, who's very good. And out of those 4 with Dramekco, I have him kind of like right there with Michael Turner. Like I saw Ricky Stewart in person. He's a one-cut guy. We've seen that, he kind of trimmed back a little bit from his initial ranking. Tiger Ryden, kind of same thing. I mean, it wouldn't be crazy if Dramekco Green ended up being the most productive out of that 4.
It's really not. And I think it's a matter of he's saving his best for last, right? Like a lot of those guys you mentioned, extremely productive very early on in their careers. And I think with Dramekco, we still needed to see a little more tape on him. And after the in-person viewing, you just have all these questions when you're introduced with some of these players. And for instance, like when you messaged me, that was really sort of the first time I had really taken a dive into Dramekco Green and what he could be. And when you're given that blank slate, or I always call it the puzzle pieces, right? I'm trying to create a puzzle when I take every single prospect. And so with Dramekco, it was like, okay, I got a clean puzzle here. Let's find the corner pieces, and then we'll put the rest of it together. And then with Dramekco, you look at it from the outside going in, and you're like, man, he's got the physical tools. He has the explosiveness. The tape looks good. The in-person workout looks good. I just want to fill more puzzle pieces together and see what this picture really looks like. And I think that's what the senior tape's going to do. It's going to provide much more puzzle pieces that we can hopefully put together a nice, clean puzzle at the end of his senior season. And to use your analogy, Billy, I mean, it really could end up being the prettiest puzzle of the bunch.